Doc Rivers called out his Bucks for their lack of professionalism on the road. He called out the players, he even called out the support staff. That was after they lost at Washington 2 nights ago. So the Bucks turned right around and went home and lost a back-to-back to Memphis, which is now 26-50. Okay, so they didn't have Dame, didn't have Patrick Beverly in either game, but Giannis did play. Washington and Memphis at home? So Paul Pierce joins us now. And by the way, he is styling in sort of Celtics green because they did clinch home court last night, right?
Yeah. Throughout the playoffs.
Looking good. Okay, so let's talk about a chaser. I guess they're a chaser, the Bucks. What is going on in Milwaukee?
I mean, when I hear Doc talk about professionalism, I mean, immediately that speaks to me about their leadership on the team. Like, I mean, what are they doing on the road? Are they going out? Are they
we talked about this yesterday, but they don't seem like a party team to me.
No, they don't. I mean, you would think when you have a guy like Dame and guys like Patrick Beverly, Antetokounmpo, they hold guys accountable. But I just don't see it in this team this year. They lack the defensive toughness. They lack the presence. You know, Giannis has been great, obviously, number-wise, but teams aren't afraid of Milwaukee anymore.
No.
You know, they're 500 since the All-Star break or since Doc has taken over. And they just don't have that aura anymore. They don't give you a defensive presence anymore. And so when I look at the Eastern Conference, I put them in the same mix with the rest of the teams. There's Boston, and everybody else is on the same playing field to me. I think Milwaukee can lose to anyone, and they can beat anyone not named the Boston Celtics. I mean, they don't really stand out. I mean, but Bucks, Cavaliers, Magic, Knicks, Heat, they're all in the same boat to me. And so it's surprising because of the last 4 or 5 years, they've been a dominant team. Defensively, they just don't carry that presence anymore. And they could easily lose in the first round this year if they get the wrong matchup and have to see like the Heat or the Sixers with Joel Embiid back. You can see them going in the first round. But it's an impossible task you ask Doc to do. He came in the middle of the season, which we've never seen. We've seen it once. David Blatt in Cleveland got fired when they were first place or second place. You brought in Ty Lue, and okay, they won the championship.
But they did have that, what's that guy's name? LeBron?
LeBron, they had LeBron,
Okay.
But ultimately, at the end, Milwaukee's going to be judged on their playoff performance, so we got to wait and see.
Okay.
Was it a mistake for Doc to take over when he took over? Probably not, okay? But a lot of these games, when you assemble talent and you try to put it together, you went out and you got Dame. You obviously got Middleton. You obviously got a little hustle man in Patrick Beverly, who none of those guys showed up last night, right? They didn't play. They were not there. You figure, oh, okay, it's Memphis. We should be able to get through with Brook Lopez. We should be able to get through with Giannis. But those other dudes put on uniforms and tennis shoes too. Regardless, they gonna try to beat you. They out there to prove to the other teams in the NBA we can play too. We want to win so we can get a bag. I look at them and I say, when you look at it though, just in general, the Celtics obviously running away with this thing. They 13 games ahead of the #2 team, which are the Bucks. They 13 games ahead of them, which is like crazy. I've never heard of that or seen that before. Milwaukee is the type of team, though, I believe, when they get into the playoffs and those guys are healthy, that switch will turn on because they've been there before. They've been there. Everybody's been there. The players, Doc's been there, although he's surrendered some 3-1 leads in his career before, and we always joke about it and talk about it, but he's been in the postseason. And you can't discount.
Well, he knows.
You can't discount postseason success at all, especially when you got veteran players that's played in it. So I'm not like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I think they can be bounced in the first round, but I also think they can bounce people in the first and the second round as well and wind up looking at the Celtics for the Eastern Conference Championship.
Okay, quick aside before I go. You just referred to tennis shoes, and I couldn't believe that came out of your mouth because I grew up calling any sort of leisure footwear tennis shoes, and I don't even know where it came from. Why would you call it tennis shoes?
That's what I grew up with, tennis shoes.
Did you call it tennis shoes?
I think I did call it tennis shoes.
And then they became sneakers, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've always just said tennis shoes.
Okay. I have too. And then I always
Even
look
when
back.
I tell my kids, go get my tennis shoes, I don't say go get my Snickers.
I know, but where did that ever start from? Tennis shoes? Did you ever play tennis?
No, I
didn't either. I didn't play tennis. Okay. All right. Now back to business. Here's what got me about last night. The Milwaukee Bucks featuring Giannis. He was there, and he played, let me look at it, he played 32 minutes in this game. They got beat points in the paint, 76-36. The 76 points in the paint, that's the third most in the last 25 years that a team has given up. 76 paint points with Giannis, a defensive player of the year.
Giannis and Lopez.
And Brook Lopez, a shot blocker supreme, right? You gave up 76. That's just effort, desire, want to. That's just, you just didn't show up last night. That's what happened, because you're getting pounded by at home by Jaren Jackson Jr., although the weird part was he had only 3 rebounds, and Gigi Jackson, who's a rookie out of South Carolina, he had 12 rebounds. I don't even know who Jordan Goodwin is. He's a second-year player, undrafted out of St. Louis. He had 12 rebounds. Lamar Stevens had 9 rebounds. I don't even know these people playing for Memphis because they don't have their stars. So isn't this like the all-time humiliation to have to suffer that at home? And Paul, it did make me wonder, was that a reaction to Doc calling them out in a bad way, where they just said, okay, you point fingers at us, we'll just show you, we just won't show up tonight, right? Yeah. We just, you know, if you're going to blame us, we'll put it right back on your head, because we'll basically quit on you for this night against this team.
Well, let's hope they didn't do such a thing. Yeah. They're professionals. They get a check. I don't think they just laid down because Doc said that, you know, they don't handle business a certain way on the road.
I mean, a lot of this lies, I think, on Giannis, truthfully.
It does.
Because when you have a coach, when you have Adrian Griffin, I think a lot of things came up like, could he lead them to a championship once Dame got there? Because that's the expectations you have when you get a caliber of player, Dame, Lillard, and Antetokounmpo. They didn't probably believe that he could lead them there. And so he had to have some say if Adrian Griffin was not going to be there or got fired to bring in Doc.
Yeah.
Giannis has to, your franchise player, he got to have some.
He was the one who
so
initiated
now you bring in Doc, and y'all don't play as well, and Doc has to implement his system, and, you know, you have to gain confidence in his coaching and voice, and now they turn into a 500 team. Why is nobody talking about the guy who's considered one of the top 2 or 3 players in the whole world accountable for all of this? And so a lot of this is on him. I think he's taking a step back on defense. Yeah, he had 5 blocks, but the presence isn't there for Milwaukee on the defensive end anymore. And you can say all you want to say about they don't have Drew Holiday up front. Middleton's been in and out of the lineup. You still got 2 all-defensive players on the block.
You do.
In Brook Lopez and Antetokounmpo, so there's no way you should give up 76 points in the paint, and that's just a lack of effort, a lack of will, a lack of trying when you're playing against the Memphis Grizzlies, who are on their way to the lottery and Cancun this summer.
Yeah. So
you still got Malik Beasley, who's a hustle face too. I mean, he'll try. He's a try-hard guy.
Pat Connaughton, he puts effort.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if they're responding to Doc right now when I see games like this. So I don't know if he's lost the locker room or what, but this is inexcusable.
I'm with you. I think they're a first-round exit candidate. It just smells like that right now, like it did not click. And I do think, even though I don't want to put it on one guy, as you say, but when Drew exits and you replace it with Dame, you lose some of your defensive tenacity and identity. Right. You just do, because he is big time. He's brought a new element to the Celtics of, it's just like a defensive toughness. And Marcus Smart did too, but it's the same. But again, you didn't lose anything when you replaced Marcus Smart with Drew Holiday. They have lost something. So now the onus falls on Dame, because he's going to need to make 6 or 7 threes in playoff games, because that's who they are now. They sort of live and die now off, can Dame get hot or not?
Right.
One way or the other. Giannis is probably going to give you about what he gives you, but he doesn't have the defensive presence he used to.
Right. It just is what it is. So they can win the first round, they can lose in the conference finals, or they can win. So I'm just not confident in them.
A lot of
sloppy
basketball played by the
Not
Bucks.
at all. And then, you know, another name, Middleton. I don't know. He's in and out of the lineup. If they're not going to get anything from him consistently, then this team is this is a disappointment for Milwaukee. Before the season, when they added Dame, you instantly said, okay, them versus the Celtics in the conference finals. Now, I'm not going to rush to no conclusions and everything, but they are judged off their playoff success. And so we just got to wait and see.
Okay. What if they flame out? What does it do to Doc's sort of legacy? Anything at all?
Well,
or is he just a made man? Like he's.
Well, you gotta understand. He came in the middle of a burning fire. Like right now, you're saying put
Man, it
this
was
out.
burning fire.
I mean, you know,
they were winning.
Yeah, but you're asked to do an impossible situation. You bring in a whole new coach.
Winning.
Like who? They were winning.
Yeah, that's why I didn't understand why they made the move to begin with.
The move was not to get rid of Adrian Griffin in the beginning during the season. This is a move you make before the season or after the season. Now you come where they have no practice time under Doc. Yeah. You know, you have no training camp. And so what do? Do you go with your old playbook, your old defensive philosophy, or do you implement something on the fly in the middle of the season? Like, how do the players pick that up? And if it doesn't work, how do you gain the confidence of the players if it doesn't work and you're not winning? So then they get to tune you out, and then they start doing their own thing, which sometimes it looks like they're doing their own thing on the defensive end because they have no defensive presence.
They don't.
Even though he's been there the majority of the season?
Who?
Doc.
He got there in the middle of the season. Like, you got a playbook, Key. And now, 6 games into the NFL season, you get a whole new playbook. And you got to adjust on the fly, and y'all been winning with the playbook that y'all already have.
Doc got there.
They already had 45 games in, I think.
No, it wasn't that many.
They was 30. I think they was 30 and 13. It was around there.
Really?
Okay.
Yes. More than halfway.
Yeah, it feels like that. I don't know. You could be right. It just feel like it was to me. It felt like it was a lot less games.
No,
than
it was
that.
halfway, at least halfway. They had 30 wins when he got there.
Wow.
They were second in the East, 30 wins, and then you bring in second place, a few games behind the Celtics, and then you implement a new coach,
system, a new voice,
a new coach. Like, that's almost, you know, you're asking to do something impossible. And then you're asked to lead them over the top to the championship.
So if they get bounced this year, then you essentially got to bring Doc back the following year anyway.
Absolutely.
To run it all back.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give them a training camp.
Yeah.
Implement maybe a coaching staff of his desires.
Which is crazy why they would do it in the first place.
Exactly.